Show me what you've got.
Hey, it's
I
your
think
time.
you'll appreciate this one.
G'day folks, Chog here. We are almost 2 weeks into the league now and we've dropped 2 Svalinn shields. So I think we can officially say that we are doing a Svalinn farm. Now we've managed to sell each of these shields for either 55 or 60 divine all up. So we're looking at 115 divine between the two. So it's turned into quite a lucrative strategy. In this video, we'll run through the farming strategy itself, have a look at the atlas, have a look at some of the stats, see if this is good or bad luck that we're on at the moment. So let's dive in and have a look at the atlas to start with. Now, for those of you that have seen my previous video, this is pretty much the same atlas. We're just on the grind doing the same thing again and again and again and again. The main focus or the base focus is to spawn as many star craters as we possibly can, and then it's just up to luck as to whether one of those star craters has a Svalinn in it. The only difference from last video is that we have decided memory tear chance is a good idea. We didn't realize at the time that the Incarnation of Dread was giving out invitations that were worth 1.3 divine, so we saw these other two at 10 to 15 chaos and thought the strat was not worth it. We have changed our mind on that. We're loving it. So aside from that, we've still got our Settlers of Kalgur nodes on the tree, so we've taken all of the ones that we possibly can, minus Lost in Transit. I don't want to lose any of my ore deposits to lost shipments, and I don't want to click a whole bunch to open them, and I don't want to waste any of my passive tree to get the automatic opening of chests, so we're just scrapping it, removing it from the tree. Other than that, pretty much all other nodes are taken. We've saved some points by not taking the increased amount of ore. I do have a little bit of a tinfoil hat theory that potentially the Verisium ore nodes that the Star Crater replaces, it might be more likely to replace the Verisium ore node the more ore that that node contains. Maybe I'm keen to maybe do some late league strategies to see if popping all of these nodes in changes the Star Crater chance, but that's later ideas. So we don't have any other more likely nodes on any of the other types of ore, just looking for that Verisium. We're still really not killing any monsters, so Refiner's Bargain isn't really a thing for us either. Now we're running all of the heist nodes. This is our primary currency turnover at the moment. Up until this stage, we've just been selling all of the blueprints and deception contracts. Moving forward, we'll still sell the deception contracts, but we will be running the blueprints ourselves since we're tanky enough to handle it. The other node that we've moved into here is the bestiary, so Einhar. Now we are running the wilds combined with the less common varieties. The reason we are running the wilds is because out of the most expensive beasts that you can possibly find and the largest beasts that are easiest to see in a massive pack while you're running through at 500% movement speed, 4 of those are in the family of the wilds. So that is the Black Morrigan, the Wild Bristle Matron, the Wild Hellion Alpha, and the Wild Brambleback. There's only really 3 other beasts even in the game that we would stop to kill and pick up. Those being the Vivid Watcher, the Vivid Vulture, and the Krakik Chimeral. I'll try and put some footage of those beasts up on the screen now, but generally speaking, those wilds beasts are covered in spikes, they're glowing red, they're absolutely massive, they're super easy to see. We're pretty comfortable with missing some of the other ones. The Vivids kind of glow like the sun, so they're not too hard to see, but I guarantee I'm missing some Krakik Chimerals in there somewhere, but I'm okay with missing those for the speed that we're getting moving through quite rapidly. Now that's pretty much it for the Atlas itself. We've got those blocking nodes down there, and we've also done a manual block for Alva. So we've actually run Alva until she's ready to have a temple taken from her. I've actually got a locus on it, so it's worth some money when I do finally take it out. But since she's got that ready to take out of her stash, it means that she can't spawn on any more maps. I'm not exactly sure if the game will replace her with something else when she can't spawn, or if it takes her roll chance and just leaves those nodes empty when she can't spawn. I'm not sure what out of those is accurate, but the chance is there that if it works, it's currently working. Now, I've seen a few strategies out there to farm star craters, but in balancing speed through maps as well as currency gained, I really think this strategy is the best one to go. When you look at the other strategies that are getting added here, memory tears are only adding about 2 minutes extra in mapping time for a full set of memory tears to be able to get an extra divine and a bit. Iced takes a fraction of time to pick up off the ground, and I'm checking those areas anyway for Svalinn craters. And beasts, we're only focusing on those really large ones that are quite easy to spot, and only stopping when we've got sort of 20 to 50 chaos worth that comes just with killing the mob. Now, I won't claim to be the first to do this exact strategy, but I do plan on producing the best documentation with the results with some of the largest sample sizes put together by a single person. Now let's have a quick look at the map device. This time we've moved on to running scarabs, so running 2 of the Kalgurin scarabs. You'll see that we've fully filled up all of the slots with Kalgurin scarabs, but only 2 of these can be active at a time. I just filled the others up so I don't have to worry about running out and then trying to remember how many maps that I've done without the scarabs in them. So 100% of this batch has been done with scarabs in. Then we've got our Atlas selected that we just ran over. We've got Iced selected. We're paying for that each time. Currently, we're not prepared to move to Settlers because I think we lose money on that until we find a Svalinn shield. And I find I lose a lot of motivation to keep on doing a farm or when you're just losing money on repeat. So we're popping Heist in there, and it doesn't matter which progress you go for, Searing or Eater. I plan on running these afterwards and killing the boss myself. So I'm going to choose Eater just because I find that boss easier on this character. Now, just in the maps that we've done so far, we've done 500 with scarabs, 500 without. We've definitely found a significant difference that these do make. I think we've gone from about 50 maps to find a crater down to around 30. So certainly making a difference having those 2 ore deposits extra on the map. The map itself, we're running these scoured. They're white maps just to make the mobs a bit easier because we're really not worried about anything else that's spawning on the map. And extra rarity, pack size, things like that don't influence your crater chance. It doesn't influence your beasts that show up on the map. It doesn't influence the number of smugglers caches that rock up. So white maps are fine. White maps are easier. The reason that we've chosen dunes is that I find it's a really sweet spot of really cheap and easy to purchase. They're going for about 1 cartographer's chisel each at the moment, and you can buy them in massive bulk. Next, it takes us around 30 seconds to run them, so it's a really quick map. And lastly, when we do get to the boss at the end of the set of 28 maps for our Eater progress, the boss is really quite easy to kill. It doesn't have arduous mechanics. He's got 1 heal at half life, but that's it. So we'll dive into a map real quick to show you what it looks like. With these maps, we're looking to run them in around 30 to 40 seconds on average. That boosts up to be about a minute if you are buying a lot of rogue markers. Oh, we just sold our Black Morrigan. How good. So up to about a minute is probably where we cap out at being content with a run. If things were to change and suddenly dunes got more expensive, we would just change to a different map. It really doesn't matter what map it is exactly. So let's go. Now, conveniently, we've got a timer down the bottom of this map, so that's going to help us keep track of things as we go around. We're going to be looking at the mini-map, chasing our little red dots to check on our beasts, which are just down below us. I try to travel in a clockwise direction as I'm going around, and we're not doing breach. We're skipping that one. I find clockwise makes it easier to skip the boss. Otherwise, I find... cruise on out. Otherwise, I find myself running into the boss's area quite easily, and I lose a little bit of time in there. We'll run another one. That one I only saw 1 or 2 of the red beasts, so we'll try another one. And just so we can run kind of a handful, we get to see what it's looking like. So I'll run in a clockwise direction just so I don't run into the boss's room and get lost for time. Picking up those. Check this guy. He's a koala, so he's not one of the wild beasts. Checking up that direction. Sometimes these take long enough to drop their goodies that sometimes if they're close together, you're better off jumping from one to the next than coming back. But that's about it. So got another one. We'll keep on rolling. Now there is a little spawn spot that I think I'm missing for those last two that I just demonstrated. I should go a little bit closer into the mouth of the boss's arena just to double check for any beasts or smugglers caches that might be in there. Now, an excellent thing to mention about this strategy is that it has a super low bar for entry. You don't need a good character to do this strategy. The bare minimum standard is not dying 6 times in a white tier 16 map. You don't even need to fight mobs though, so just invest a little bit more in your survivability. You don't have to kill the boss every 28 maps. You don't have to kill beasts. You can just be running through and grabbing heist contracts and selling them off until you make enough currency. It is easily profitable to go out there, grab a bunch of uncorrupted maps, scour them, and even run heist only until you can afford to upgrade your build. If you're strapped for currency, there's absolutely no reason why you can't be doing this. Alright, so that's the general rotation. Look at around 30 to 40 seconds for each run, and we're really chasing those Starfall craters and looking for memory tears as well. Now we'll quickly grab that currency that we just got from our Black Morrigan. So that one's selling for 60 chaos. We have got a lot of currency recently from other beasts that we've caught. So got a stack of them cruising in there, among other things. So that's the Atlas, that's the strategy. You just keep on running that again and again and again until you get your Svalinn pretty much. Now next we're going to have a look at the spreadsheet and some of the stats behind it. There's going to be a slight little flashbang as we change the scenes over. Here it comes. Now what we've got here is a few batches of information. We might zoom it on in, make it easier for the smaller monitors out there to see. What we've got up the top here is the first batch of 500. So in this we are running the full Atlas that we've just demonstrated there. No scarabs and the heist on the map device. So we ran 505 maps. We got a total of 9 craters to show up and we did not get any Svalinn shields. I will note there was a slight change I made to the memory tears between the first set and the second set. So there will be some pretty significant differences between the memory totals between these two batches. No difference to anything Kalgur related. Now the second batch that we've got down here is the strategy we're currently running, the one we just demonstrated. Once again, we've run just about 500 maps for this strategy as well. Now something I noticed just before I started up this video was that in these boss areas, the Theatre of Lies, Chambers of Impurity, and Courtyard of Wasting, they are spawning ore nodes, which means those ore nodes could turn into Starfall craters, which means I should be counting these arenas towards my total maps run, which I haven't been so far. So really I should be making this 520. I'll make this change in the future and we will see numbers vary slightly. But so far running this strat, we've had 500 maps, 16 Starfall craters, and we've been fortunate enough to have 2 Svalinn drop out of that. Now getting Svalinn shields to drop out of craters is a pure luck kind of thing. The drop chance for them is so thin that we're really trying to get enough sample size to get a decent enough drop rate for it. But even if the drop rate is 1 in 30 Starfall craters or something like that, it doesn't stop situations like this where I've got 2 shields out of 15 or 16 craters. So the thing that is within our control and it is easier to track in this situation is just how much more frequently we can get Starfall craters to appear. And as long as we're ramping that number up as high as we can, then our chances of getting a Svalinn are at least the highest that they can be. Whether that happens or not is up to the PoE gods. So the first sort of summary that we've done down here is how many maps do we have to run for a crater to spawn. In our first strategy, we found that we needed to run an average of 56 maps to see a crater. In our second strategy with the 2 scarabs, we've found 31 maps instead. Now I went down a bit of a rabbit hole of thought of looking at if we're adding 2 ore deposits and we reduce it by this much, how much of a reduction per deposit do we get? And then theoretically, if that same decrease happens when we add the 2 more onto the map device, potentially we could get sub 10 maps to see a crater. But at the moment, this is all just theoretical. So this is more of just a stab in the dark of what I might expect when I do my future tests. Now, the next little bit of summary that we've done here is how many craters we needed to do to see a Svalinn. Now, because the 2 strategies don't impact the chance for a Svalinn shield to spawn, we're happy to combine these 2 numbers together and then compare that to the number of Svalinn shields that we got to drop. And between those 2 numbers, we had an average of 12.5 craters that we would have to see before we would see a Svalinn shield drop. Now, the big question that this raises is this lucky or is this to be expected for normal farms? So to compare that, I'm going to look at my results from what I did last season. So this is my results from the 3.26 league, where I ran my own set of 1000 maps, also finding 2 Svalinn shields in the process. And I went on a bit of a search and looked at a bunch of other creators in the space, looking at how many maps they ran versus how many craters they encountered versus how many shields they found from that as well. And I got the groups combined stats, which I'll be honest, for the maps, I was only able to use those that actually quoted a confident exact map number, which worked out to be 32 on average, or 33 maps run per crater, which compared to our current one, 31, this is looking pretty similar. So this was out of a group in total of 2,500 maps run with 80 craters seen. We're looking at really similar numbers to what we're getting currently with maps per crater. Craters per Svalinn, on the other hand, we're looking way lower at 12.5 craters per Svalinn. We're looking at less than half, I think. That divided by 2. We're looking at less than half the number of craters needed to be seen to see a Svalinn. So essentially doubling the drop chance. Now this does raise a lot of questions with it still. So were some of these exaggerations? How good was their maths? Were they using a good method of counting the number of maps that they ran? Were some of these maps other things that they were doing? Maybe they just did some beast farming instead and didn't run scarabs. There's a lot of uncertainty. So looking at just my stats alone, so these are the only ones that I can truly be confident in and back up with videos and my own data on it. This information also has a bit of variability about it. So my last session, my own data, has a much higher maps per crater ratio than I did. But in saying that, we also hit a very similar last time, a similar craters per Svalinn ratio of down in the low teens or 11 to 12 mark, which we're looking at here as well. So at this stage, there really isn't too much that I would say is very conclusive. We're not getting good numbers yet. We need a larger sample size. We have to get more maps run to get more confident. Did we just get as lucky last time as we got this time? Or is the repetition of statistics starting to become more evident that this is closer to a realistic number? Were our other friends here just wildly unlucky with 33 and 0, 22 and 0, 25 and 1. Like, was everybody unlucky or inaccurate, or are we super lucky? So what we're going to do to work this out is run a big old stack of maps. We're not going to change our strategy at all until we purchase a mirror. That's going to be our goal. So mirrors at the moment are worth, let's have a look here. Mirrors are currently worth 364 divine, so we're going to push this strategy until we hit that. We're going to be running all of our own blueprints and pretty much selling everything else that we get. We have made a good little chunk of the way there already. We've got 5 mirror shards, which adds up to about 100 divine at the moment. So that's about 25% of the way there. We have already run a few contracts so far, so you might have seen in our spreadsheet we had run 200 contracts this league, which resulted in us dropping 3 helical rings. That added up to 58 divine there for profit. So we're looking to drop a few more of those, and maybe some of our bigger ticket items as well. We'll see what luck has for us. Once we hit that mirror mark, we're going to do one last little build upgrade for our Toxic Rain Pathfinder to see if we can get it up to 700 move speed. We're at 500 now. And I think we're around 1 million damage. We'll see if we can get it up to 15 to 20. We'll see. Come check us out on Twitch if you want to see where we are up to, and like and subscribe here if you want to see the results. We'll get back to the grind here, and I guess that's bye for now.